Evening. Welcome back to the final show of the week. Orange and Blue weekend, Orange and Blue Blood Thursday night, and a special guest that you won't want to miss. If you want to know about how the money thing works and who's trying to make it all jingle, well, we got just the guy for you. He's Mr. Make It Happen himself. Coming up after the top, we'll have Troupe will join us along with Franz and Loren Meadows as best we can because Freddie Wehbe is our special guest tonight on an exclusive interview about, well, money makes the world go around and Freddie makes that happen. So stand by, coming your way in just a moment. Freddie Wehbe on the Buddy Martin Show on Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday.
Time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to the program. Finally, we got some football, even if it is a spring practice game on Saturday. I'm going to tell you all about it, everything you need to know, and how you take advantage of the amenities. There are many. And also what's going on with the NIL program, the guy who's on the inside now. He's the director of revenue. We'll talk to him about that. Our friend Freddie Wehbe, who's got a lot of questions and a lot of answers. So along the way, we'll be joined by Troupe, who I see is weighed in as well. And we will thank our sponsors tonight, by the way, for helping make this possible. Perhaps an almost ad-free program tonight, thanks to our sponsors, not the least of which is Jeremy, the Meldon Law, Jeffrey Meldon, Renstar Medical Research, and our friends at, hang on a second, I lost my copy here. Anyway, our sponsors, you know who they are, and we'll get back to them. Let's go right to the hotline right now, first of all, and bring in Troupe. He'll welcome us. We'll welcome him. Then Freddie Wehbe is standing by, and we'll get to him now. Good evening to you there, Benster. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I always be on with you, buddy. What's going on tonight?
Well, we got Freddie tonight in a special time to answer many, if not all, the questions we have about NIL. You and I have had many of them. It's been a long road for a lot of people trying to do the right thing. So we will we'll get some answers from Freddie. I know you have some things to ask him, and we'll get with that in a minute as well. First of all, just a little business note. Could it be true that I'm reading that Kentucky is settling on Mike White as their next coach? Did you see that?
Mike White, formerly of the Florida Gators, now
Yes.
with the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, look, I will say this. I will say this about Kentucky. It is the premier coaching job in college basketball, not named Kansas, North Carolina, UConn, and Duke. But I think the thing about John Calipari, he put him in a very, very precarious situation because I mean him leaving saying things like, they need a new voice, and I heard some rumblings that he tried to use Arkansas to get another deal with Kentucky, and Kentucky didn't want to counter Arkansas. That's how he ended up over there. But I mean, Mike White, I don't know what type of move that is. That's not a lateral move. That's not. I mean, maybe they know something we don't.
Perhaps.
But, hey, Kentucky basketball is one of the hardest. It's definitely a prestigious coaching opportunity for anybody. It's the bluest of the blue bloods. But Mike White wouldn't make a lot of sense to nobody from Kentucky. But I guess we got to wait and see.
I guess we do. Let's go right to the orange and blue room and talk to the orange and blue sky. I know right now somebody just stepped into the breach of a job that I don't know who'd want that job. I know who could do that job. This is one guy who could. We've seen him in action, what he's been doing, and What I want to talk to him tonight about is the plan behind all this. There is one, and talk about money, which, Ben, as you know, whether it's in church or business, it's always tough to talk about money. And this guy does it better than anybody I know. Our friend, Freddie Wehbe. Freddie, good evening to you. Hang on one second, Freddie. All right, go ahead. Good evening. Hi, Freddie. Are you there, Freddie? Well, we had him and everything before, and what happened? Freddie, are you there?
Here, can you hear me?
All right, now we got you. All right, so we had it going good before the show. When the show started, it all broke down. By the way, TitanMRI.com is our sponsor. I blanked on it while I was doing some great people. They've done a great job for us, and you should know about them. I'm going to tell you about them during the show. Freddie, is it true that you have sold your soul to the Florida Gators in a good way?
I wouldn't say it's true. I love the Gators. I'm a fan. I want the Gators to win, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I get it. I'm only kidding, of course. And it takes a special kind of guy, Ben, to do that. When they started looking for the people, and we all know the issues that have gone on with, all the NIL deals. Florida got in the hole early on, really bad. And really, right now, it seems like everything is starting to cook. But there's money that needs to be raised. And the guy who stepped up and said, I'll do that, was to our left, Freddie Wehbe. He's a director of revenue. Is that what it is? What is it, Freddie? What's the right title?
And the official title is Director of Corporate Revenue. But really, I'm here to support the team, work together so we can go out and raise plenty of money that's needed for the Gators to win.
Yeah. Well, let's start with this because I want this to be your story. And we're going to get into the events, special events. Tell people why they should go to the Orange and Blue game on Saturday. It sounds like a wonderful day. We'll go through the whole list of events. We're going to devote this hour. But I want to start with the first thing about passion for the Gators. This guy in the middle is one of the most passionate people I know. He is always looking to do something for the Florida Gators without having his hand out, by the way. And that's been for as long as I've known him. Ben, I guess we've been doing this about 3 years, whatever it is. And he's always trying to help somebody, whether it's a young player or whatever. And this is the kind of people you want to build your program around. I know, Freddie, there's also that element of you. You're very passionate. You want to do the right things. You have done some terrific things, not the least of which, by the way, is Spurrier's Grill Grill, which is one of the best things they've got in Gainesville. And I'm not saying it because you're my friend or Steve's my friend or because I like the restaurant. It's true, Ben. It's a special place to have there, and it's like another arm, a third arm for the University of Florida. It's something I think has and will pay dividends, Ben.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing about even, not to speak for Freddie, I think the thing about, the University of Florida Victorious, and obviously we'll get into it, is the hardest thing for any, alumni, lover of the University of Florida to understand is the times change quickly. We seem to think that, oh, man, it used to be this way, it used to be that way. When I played, it was like this, now it's like that. I think the thing about the University of Florida is how can we utilize each other to help generate the revenue that it's going to take, not just now, but moving forward, to get the type of players you want to get in. And I get it. It's one of those things that every time I'm blessed enough to be able to go to one of the Florida Gator clubs and speak, and that's one of the questions I always get is, what is NIL? How is it benefiting? And I always tell people this. I say, listen, if you ever had a job that you wanted to move on, right? You want to move on to another job. You moving on. You're not moving on somewhere that's not going to pay you better or give you more benefits. The thing about NIL is it's the wave of the future, because NIL to me is more about the 99% that's not going pro. The student athlete experience is everything. So, hey man, I'm looking forward to hearing from Freddie and what he's doing with the corporate revenue side. But to everybody that seemed to act as if this is the end of college athletics as we know, it's not. I think it's just showing that the same way we want to get best coaches, best players, best facilities, this is how you do it. So, and I know it's more dedicated to the players, but Freddie, I'm going to be very, very interested. The corporate revenue side. Like I said, being a former player, I knew it was a lot of revenue generating streams when I was at the University of Florida, and I wasn't NIL wasn't going on then, but that's college athletics, though. I mean, if you think that trying to budget and penny pinch is gonna get us there, it's just not. That's not where we are, and I get it when people start saying, "Well, Ben, it sounds like this is more out of my wheelhouse." It's not. Everybody can play a part in it. And not everybody's going to donate the same thing, and everybody's going to give the same thing. But I do think with the events, the Florida Victorious, and everything surrounding it, I think this thing can be as big as we want it to be. Because, like I said, when I start seeing the type of things going on around Gainesville now, I be saying to myself, "My goodness, man! Like how different, how quickly things change." But I'm on the side of change. I'm on the side of progress, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing my part, and former players like myself are doing our part to lend our voice. Lend our platform to try to help, push NIL forward.
A good job. Let's get to Freddie and let him start out by saying he got so much to cover here. He wants to talk about the orange and blue game because that's a key to him. He's got questions. We got questions. Freddie, where do you want to start? You want to start with what's going on Saturday, or you want to talk about the latest initiative? I'll let you go for a while.
You're the captain, buddy. Thank you again for the opportunity. Let's start with the orange and blue game. It's going to be a fantastic day. The spring game happens once a year. It's our first game. And admissions are free. People should come and support the Gators, play against each other. And we have so many events just to promote the game. And Florida Victorious is the official sponsor of the spring game, and we are taking advantage of that. We've worked and collaborated with the athletic department, with the UAA, with the marketing, with the football team to do several events. The biggest one is a meet and greet after the game on Steve Spurrier Field. You can meet the players, the coaches. Coach Napier will be there. And to do so, you have to be a member of Florida Victorious. So join online at www.floridavictorious.com. Membership starts at $15 a month. It's not what people think it is. It's very little. And it all adds up to helping our student athletes. Or you can visit us at the North Lawn. We'll have a big tent, 30 by 30 tent, Florida Victorious tent, where you can come learn about the memberships. You can get your wristband. You will need a wristband to get on the field. You can pick up your wristband there or join by membership. We'll be there for 3 hours from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock before the game. Game kicks off at 1 o'clock. If you have any questions, we'll help you out. We'll get you the wristband, and we'll get you on the field after the game. We're also giving away a Chevrolet. We've worked our first corporate deal with the Southern Chevy dealers. We have a brand new Silverado that's all in Gator skin. Someone's going to win that during the game in the third quarter. And we also have a punt contest between the Townsend brothers. Tommy and Johnny, at the end of the first quarter, will punt towards a Florida Victorious target on the field. It's a punt for a cause. And a generous donor from Florida Victorious will donate $2,000 to the charity of choice. Tommy selected the Special Olympics, and Johnny selected UF Health Pediatric Hospital. So a lot of cool things going on. We also have a big donor that will match all our donations through the 14th of April through Sunday, up to $500,000. Whatever we bring in from memberships and sponsorships and donations, it'll be matched up to $500,000. All around, we're trying to raise money. Like Ben said, it's all about revenue, and we need to go in a different route to make sure we're bringing the revenue in to support our Gators. If you want the Gators to win, you have to help the Florida Victorious. It's that simple. Have you ever met a Gator fan that doesn't want the Gators to win?
If he does, he's not a Gator fan. If he doesn't.
That's correct. And the only road to get there is by bringing more revenues and keeping our student athletes happy. The world has changed. NIL is here to stay. We need everyone to embrace it, and good things will happen.
All right, we're going to bring it to another level here, another person in, and talk about something. It's the gap between the players and the public knowing them and the conduit for getting the players. If people know the players better, they're more apt to buy in. Ben and I have had at Franz a good relationship with these people for a while. We've had numerous players on this program. We always contend the better, more we can bring to our fans, the more they're going to be involved, more willing to invest. And there have been some problems, I'll be honest with you, Freddie. You know about them on that. I think you're going to address it as well. But it is writing a check, but it's a lot more than that goes with it. So I'm going to bring Franz in here and let him ask a couple of questions. I know you've got some plans for a media day, Freddie, which I want you to talk about, and you're trying to bridge that gap as well.
Hey, Freddie, good to see you, bud.
Good to see you, friends. Always great to see you.
Yeah, well, you're one of my favorite people after, you know, if nobody was on last night, I want to tell everybody a quick story about Freddie, and this will tell you the kind of person that Florida Victorious has in charge that really is helping the Gators. I had a very close friend named Doug Wedgeworth, who was vital to Florida's recruiting efforts for 30 years down in Palm Beach County, and in particular Belglade, Pahokee, etc., like that. Numerous great players, that some of which Ben played with, came from that area that Doug was responsible for. Doug had a rare ocular melanoma, the kind that was inoperable. The doctors kept him alive for 8 years longer than he thought they should have, but he lived it that long. And back in the spring, he knew he was going to be gone soon. Brought his family up and wanted to see a baseball game one more time, the whole family. And they wanted to eat at Spurrier's. And I called Freddie, and Freddie got a room for him, made all the arrangements for him, took care of them like they'd never been taken care of, and even brought Steve Spurrier in to visit with the entire family. Gave them a Gator memory to last a lifetime. And that's the kind of person that's in charge of this thing. And folks, this is somebody very, very special. And we couldn't have Florida Victorious couldn't be in better hands.
All right, friends, write him a check, will you, for that? Given the situation with the Wi-Fi, it being kind of weak, and we're kind of in and out, we may have to one of us drop out, come back in because we get out of sync. We don't have strong Wi-Fi here. But let's get to the specifics of a couple of things. That's not the media we're talking about per se tonight. But I think, Freddie, you have tried to bridge the gap, and you're having a media day for Florida Victorious, right?
We're planning that. Still in the final stage. It should be announced any day now. There will be a media day soon where we need to do a better job explaining to the world, to the fans, and to the media what Florida Victorious is. You know, there's a little bit of vagueness of what NIL is and some misconceptions of what NIL is. We're going to do a media day and answer all the questions so you guys can be ambassadors to the folks in the fan base and explain to them exactly what Florida Victorious is. At the end of the day, we have one task: to help the Gators win. If you want the Gators to be victorious, you have to help Florida Victorious. It's that simple. I've said this for 2 weeks now, every single day. It's not that difficult. The world has changed. Everyone has to embrace the fact that athletes will be compensated for doing some work. It's a job in return of that. And the teams and the coaches that have enough budgets to be able to go and get players with that will win. I mean, at the end, we need a win. I tell everyone I'm doing this because I'm a fan. You know, I see 47 national championships. We want to see 48 and 49 and 50. I see 3 national championships in football. I want me and you and every fan base to see another one. We can do this, and it's all about, just like any successful business, it's about talent acquisition and bringing the right folks on board and making sure you're surrounded with the right team to win.
Freddie,
go ahead.
Here's one thing that I'd like to tell people, and this will tell everybody what kind of task you have in front of you. At Arkansas, when they hired John Calipari, they told him, we have $5 million immediately available for NIL for basketball players. Basketball players, not football, basketball players. And then they said, and if you need another 5 or 10 million, just tell us, we'll write the check. That's what we're going to be up against.
Yep. Let me just ask Freddie about some of your challenges, which are obviously writing a check is one, but you took on a responsibility here selflessly, and some people think you should have your head examined, but anyway, you did it, and you've been into it. Now you already are out there with billboards and media and making people know what's going on, explaining what Florida Victorious is. Don't give me the standard definition of what Florida Victorious is. Tell me who it really is. It's the second time around at NIL, and it's got some things are being fixed and patched up. They didn't get it right the first time around, and they're trying now to do that. Give us, meaning the fans, some assurances this is being done right, and I know it is because you wouldn't be a part of it if it wasn't. And why should they trust Florida Victorious to be that arm that they need so badly to make this so-called Moneyball thing work?
Good question, buddy. You have to trust Florida Victorious. We've got a good team, good people, hardworking people that want the Gators to win. And it's all about raising money, buddy. And the trust is there. We work with the athletic department. We follow compliance. We do things the right way. We started in April of last year. Today, actually, is our 1 year anniversary. We've been in business for 1 year. This thing is all new. We're also trying to figure it out. But what we figured out, we need to raise money. And Franz brings up Arkansas and $5 million. It doesn't matter what other schools do. We are the University of Florida. We have an alumni base of
Like
over
that.
500,000 people. We have 2 to 3 million fans. Gator Nation is in every state and is everywhere. And if everyone contributes just a little bit, $10, if every Gator fan donates $10 today, we will become the number one collective in the country. We need to we need to embrace NIL as fan base. I can tell you right now, there are some fans that don't want to do NIL. They don't accept the fact that NIL is good. They don't want to contribute. They don't understand it. They don't want to help it. Everybody wants to win, but not everyone wants to help NIL. They're parallel.
Well, you know what? They also don't want to pay a toll when they put a toll bridge on. And the toll bridge is for a reason. You got to have good roads and highways, and sometimes it requires paying a toll. This is what the toll is for college football today, as we know. I'm glad you said everybody does it differently, because there's this image of an owl saying, let the millionaires write the checks. Let them write the checks. We can't do this. And I know that is true. They are, in fact, writing the checks. But as you point out, it's kind of like a contribution to an organization or a church or whatever. If you believe in the Gators and want them to win, even a little bit of money would be helpful, I know. So I think it's important to put that money thing in perspective, and that it's not just a rich man's game. Basically, it's going to be the common working man and woman who actually make Florida go over the top.
Let me throw something for folks that don't understand this, and I think this coincides with what Freddie is saying. At Clemson, they have this wonderful thing called IPTAY. Started out in 1932. It was I pay 10 a year, which in those days was an enormous amount of money. But it soon graduated to I pay 20 a year, then I pay 30 a year, and they still have those levels. But they also have I pay 1,000 a year, I pay 10,000 a year, like that, levels of that. But the core of IPTAY are those people who do $10, $20, $30. And look at what Clemson's athletic program does, and their athletic plant, which is beautiful. They're able to get good athletes. They're able to win at high levels in just about every sport. And they're doing it with a base that gives $10, $20, $30 a year.
All right, so instead of us telling Freddie how to do it, let's ask him what he's planning to do. And I think you've got some great ideas. Freddie, start with your media campaign, your billboards. You must have been on 15 radio shows in the last week. What your personal mission is, and what kind of response you're getting from the media in your efforts to raise the awareness of what Florida Victorious is doing and why it's so critical.
Well, first, I'll tell you that the future is very bright. We started 10 weeks ago with a media campaign to build awareness, build a brand, let people know what Florida Victorious is, whether it's billboards or radio or social media. We're doing a good job, and the word is starting to get out there. People are starting to, you're going to see momentum in Florida Victorious and what we're trying to do to help the Gators win. In the next 2-3 weeks, our campaign ends, and then we need to strategize and come up with a second campaign. We have to continue doing this and telling our story and why it's important to help Florida Victorious. But we're starting to see more folks helping. There's 3 ways you can help Florida Victorious. 1, you can donate. And our team has done a good job with donations. These are big numbers, and they add up to good money. Number 2, you can become a member. For membership starts at $15 a month. It goes up to $25, $96, and $250. All this is on our website, floridavictorious.com. Right now, we have over 3,000 members, and we need to grow that number to hopefully 5,000 members. And that will give us a sustainable amount of money every month to continue driving the winning for the Florida Gators. And our new department, this is one I lead along with 2 of my colleagues, Bob Whitmore and Don Rodriguez, is to go out and sell corporate sponsorships. We're about to start doing that. And whether you're in Tampa, Orlando, Miami, anywhere in the state of Florida, we will custom a plan for your business and get you an ROI so your business increases. And even if you're not a Gator fan and you want to reach the Gator constituents, this is a great opportunity for you to raise your business sales and revenues throughout the state. Whether you're a small business, a medium business, or large business, we will work around your budget and make you win, and you hence help us make the Gators win. So those are the 3 ways you can support Florida Victorious today. And the future, again, like I said, it's very bright. We have a team of 11 that works very hard, tirelessly to help get these goals accomplished.
We're going to get to Nate Barbera. We're going to get to Nate. Hold on one second, sir. We'll get to Nate Barbera in just a moment. I want to thank again Titan MRI, Meldon Law, and all of our friends who make this possible for us every week. We're going commercial free this hour, making that donation to Florida Victorious. And by the way, you're in Star Medical Research too. What about people giving donations? Here's a guy, David Arnold, a friend of mine here from up in Northwest Florida, who says he's still working. He's a doctor. Haven't had a chance to join Florida Victorious. But you will take donations right now if people want to step up and say, hey, I'm in. You can direct them, right?
Absolutely. Go to floridavictorious.com and click on the donate button, and your credit card will take care of that in less than a minute.
Well, there you go. Hold on.
Fred.
Hold on, friends. Let me get you back up. Hold on a second. This Wi-Fi is tricky. All right. Go ahead, Franz.
Hey, Freddie. One of the perceptions I think that's out there is that Florida Victorious is only for football players. But I think I think everybody would be happy to know that you're out there for everybody who's an athlete, aren't you?
We are, and the goal is to really reach every athlete. We have over 500 athletes at the University of Florida, student athletes, that is. Right now, we contribute to over 200 athletes, and they come from 11 different sports, and we really want to hit all 21. And the more money we bring in, we will get there. It's that simple. We work within the confines of how much we bring in, and what we bring in right now takes care of over 200 athletes in 11 different sports. You know, one good example I want to bring is the Florida Victorious compensated players on Todd Golden's basketball team this past year contributed close to 60 points a game. This is how the impact of Florida Victorious is to a sport. In 1 year, Coach Golden was able to bring in the right talent, and those 5 players contributed close to 60 points a game.
Working pretty good there, I'd say. We're going to bring Ben back in just a minute. Freddie, if you will, just for a second, let's drill down on you, your personal background, where you came from. You have a very interesting background, how you wound up getting in this situation, and now how you feel about this role you have. You've loved the Gators for a long time. Explain the passion that you have for the Gators. First of all, where did you come from? Not this country, right?
I was born
South Africa.
No. I was born in West Africa, a country called Ghana, raised in South Africa. I chose this country, which I think, for those folks that travel outside the USA, this is the greatest country on earth. You can come in, work hard, and make it happen. And I was able to do that. I came to go to school. I'm an engineer, an aerospace engineer by schooling. I'm a pilot as well. I end up franchising a Domino's Pizza after my short career with Lockheed Martin. Did that for about 25 years successfully. And then I opened a marketing firm and then worked with Coach Spurrier and partnered to open Spurrier's Gridiron Grill 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago or so. It's been a great ride. Why I joined the Florida Victorious? I really am a Gator fan. I want to win. And if I can bring in enough passion and talent and help with marketing the brand and get people to understand, this is a simple equation, right? Whether you like NIL or not, whether you like what's happened or not, NIL is here to stay. NIL will change, rules will come in, regulations will come in, it might flip upside down, we don't know. I'm sure after the elections, our Congress will play a role in making the rules very clear. Maybe the rules are not clear today, but one thing's not going to change, raising money. We have to raise money. We have a fan base that's bigger than most. There's no excuse that we are not the number one collective in the country. None. Over 500,000 alumni.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
and
you're
enhancing
breaking
our
up
team
on it,
become
Freddie. You broke up on us a little bit, Freddie. Franz, yeah, Franz, I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
to ask a question and duck out for a few minutes like Ben did and come back because of the Wi-Fi before we lose Freddie. So go ahead, Franz, ask your question and hit click, and we'll come back later with you. All right?
All right. You mentioned a really good thing about the basketball, and we have 10 other sports out there, and the goal is to get all 21 involved. Is Florida Victorious part of that plan that is paying for every athlete gets to eat free? Gets 3 meals a day. Uh, I know that was made a big deal was made of that a year ago that every athlete, whether a scholarship or walk on, would get 3 meals a day taken care of. Is Florida Victorious part of that?
I don't think we are. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think that's between the school and the athletic department. All I know is Florida Victorious raises money and provides it to the student athlete.
Okay.
It's hard for him to know the inner workings of the organization, I'm sure. But what he does know about is the spring game. And Freddie, you asked me to go down this list of things here, what's happening, because you want to get people out for the spring game. You gave me a list of things. First of all, I have this thing from the University of Florida. Gates open at 11:30. General admission is free. Fans encouraged to arrive early to enjoy all the pregame activities. Pregame and Gatorland Fan Festival on North Lawn opens at 10 a.m. Gator Walk is scheduled for 10:20. Kickoff is 1 o'clock. Non-reserved parking on campus will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. Enter to win. A 2-year lease on a brand new Chevy Silverado, courtesy of Southern Chevy dealers, Ocala, Gainesville. Must be present at the Orange Blue game to be eligible to win. Can I enter that, Freddie? No, I need that car. You have student giveaway, exclusive all over Gators T-shirt giveaway for the first 1,000 U.S. students, courtesy of American Campus Communities. By the way, you got to get those students behind it. 2 bits. U.S. Student Body President Olivia Green will serve as this week's honorary Mr. or Miss Student, Miss 2 bits. You have baseball, South Carolina. It will be a series with South Carolina, and also you have featured 10 home events across 8 sports from April 12th to 14th throughout the week. So that's the information. A lot of stuff going on. And if you remember of Florida Victorious, when the game is over, as Freddie said, you will be able to send somebody down on the field to get interviews from the players. Have I missed anything, Freddie?
You did a great job. You need to do our commercial, buddy. You did a great job. But truly, this is the only game in the next 4.5 months. This is the only football game. Football game is this Saturday. And as Gator fans, you have an opportunity to support your team. Show up. Let's fill up the swamp. Have a good time. We have a lot of stuff going on. The Fan Fest is going to be packed. Its admission is free. We have contests throughout the game. We're giving away a truck, And after the game, you'll be able to meet your friends, your players. All players will be there. Coach Napier will be there. Take pictures, sign autograph. What a great day! No matter where you live in your listening area, drive up to Gainesville. Everything starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. At our tailgate, at the Florida Victorious tailgate in the north end zone, we will be hosting various players and coaches. I know the gymnastics team will be there between 10 and 11. Coach Roland will be there as well. Our basketball team will be there around 11 o'clock. Coach Golden will be there. Walter Clayton will be there, and several other players. We have some women's basketball players as well, and many other athletes that will be there as well to take pictures and say hello. And come on, visit. If you have any questions, we'll help you out. And you can get your wristband to join the field after the game as well.
Talk about your experiences. You just came off a media blitz tour. You've been on other shows across the state. What are some of the more interesting things you heard and saw, questions you were asked, and how was the reception?
It's been great. Everyone is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we have a duty as Florida Victorious to tell the world what we're doing on Saturday and why. We're doing this to build momentum for our football team, for all our sports. There's several games on besides football, baseball, softball, track, lacrosse, and on and on. But truly, this is a special week. Come support your Florida Gators. You don't have to give money if you don't want to or if you can't to. This is not about money on Saturday. It's about come enjoy a good game. Though the next game will be 4.5 months away. This is your opportunity to come visit, bring your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, your friends. It's free. There's no admission. There's no other game where there's no admission to this year. Come on down and support your Gators on Orange and Blue Day.
All right, so was Mike, who was the biggest pain in the butt to be interviewed by? Who was your biggest pain? Now, come on, give it up. I want you to know. Was it Mike Bianchi? Who was it?
Mike Bianchi was, as always, very straightforward and tough. I've been in every market from South Florida to Orlando to Tampa to Jacksonville. Tomorrow I'm with Frank Frangi in the afternoon. I was on a game in Orlando, I believe, today. At the end, the Gator brand's number one. Everyone wants to know about the Gators and how we're doing, And Saturday is a good opportunity to show how the momentum and build it the right way. Getting on the air is easy. It's just talking about what I'm talking about today. And really, this is a special game. This is in a long time we had a meet and greet after the game. And it's going to be a special day. And Gator fans, come support your Gators and have fun and enjoy. The weather's going to be great. And you can even win a brand new Chevy truck. How about that?
He's a pitch man, Ben. He's a pitch man. He's got it going on. He can pitch it. This is why Spurrier's Grill & Grill has been so successful. Freddie's a man of great day. I was with Freddie and talked to him a lot about this process early on. If you knew the massive research he did, I mean, he traveled the world to go to celebrity restaurants. He found out the kind of food everybody can get. Ben, if you were living there, he'd know what you had on your table. He knows everything about what people want to eat. He created these dishes. And the thing that we never talk about, we should, is a tremendous museum. It is really amazing, and it's only going to grow over the years as this part of the Florida football history becomes so important for people to remember. Hey, it looks pretty good now, doesn't it? And the further we get down the road, it looks even better. And the museum there will help fortify that. So we're excited about that. Let me once again say thank you to Meldon Law and our sponsors tonight for making this commercial-free hour. Ben, what's your take on what's going on here?
Well, I like it. I mean, I think Freddie shows that number one, everybody think that anything that goes with the University of Florida, definitely Florida Victorious, it's integral. It has a lot of moving parts, and no one's gonna know every single thing going on. I think the thing about it, people don't say, "Hey, what is Florida Victorious?" I said, Florida Victorious to me, it is the lifeblood of the University of Florida because it is showing these student athletes the one we really care about them, and two, we giving them this how they get the resources. I know everybody seems to think that when it comes to these student athletes, they are money hungry. That is not the case at all. And if you really want to know who they are, go to the Orange and Blue games. You get a chance to talk to them. They're standing right there. Like they're standing right there. Go talk to them. And what I do like the fact that the literacy aspect of it. Like these young men and young women are not just walking away with bigger bank accounts, they understand how to maintain these things. And the likelihood of Florida Victorious having a huge impact on them to want to do more in when they playing days are over are very high, extremely high. So I'm all for it. I heard you say something, Freddie, that I'm looking forward to being a part of a Florida Victorious ambassador to let people know, listen, people, don't complain about it if you don't want to be about it. Please don't complain that, because I'm telling you, the one thing that these teams in the country that's winning national championships all have in common, they're collectives. It is across the board. So we ain't making this in Florida. We're gonna do our part. I haven't been to Spurriers yet. I got to get down there to get to Spurriers.
We're gonna change that soon.
But no, I'm looking forward to being a Florida Victorious ambassador. Me and Buddy have been with this thing. I think when NIL kicked off, what was it, Buddy? 2021, whatever. We didn't know what was going on. No. We was right. We said we're gonna lend ourselves, and like I say, Freddie, we just here to be an extension of you in whatever capacity we can, whatever that may be. And I'm looking forward to it. I think the biggest misconception about anything is this: if you do not know what it is, don't make it up. Until you know what it is, don't make it up. Don't assume, because I am telling you, not if. When Florida starts winning national championships again, it will be because of the efforts of a Freddie, of a Buddy, of a Ben, of a whomever. So I'm looking forward to being a part of it, man. I'm happy for these players. There is no envy. Oh, and to all the people that think that former players are envious of the current players, we are not. We want the best for them. And if we had anything to do with it getting to this point, hey, man, I feel good about my time in Florida. I ain't envious of none of them. I'm happy for all of them. And I'm going to do my best to support them in any way I can.
It brings up a great point here, Freddie, and I'm going to brag on us a little bit because Ben and I worked on this hard a couple of years ago. How do we get to talk to some of the players? And the group that was running it then, they did a great, and one of them still there, did a great job. They brought us on players, I think, for 20 consecutive weeks, Ben, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think we said a couple when we interviewed, so let's say 16 athletes. The one thing I'll tell you that surprised me about it was, and Ben does a great job of talking to them man to man and telling them about what's important and how they should have their priorities lined up, is that not one of those guys I would classify ever as money hungry. Would you, Ben? They were not money hungry.
No, they're not. And
they wanted to help sell their little sisters sell some Girl Scout cookies.
Of course.
That's what once ran home to Mama. That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Antonio Valentino came on here, and what I loved the most about him was, coming over from Penn State, he came on, but I think he was one of the first ones to come on with us. And at the end, he plugged his little sister selling Girl Scout cookies. I think he wanted to sell 50 boxes. So I went and I bought the 50 boxes, and then Shannon Snell, former teammate, bought 20. She ended up selling. He didn't understand the power of the University of Florida at that point. He understood it real quick, but I think the thing is, name and image likeness to me is name and image leverage, which means to name and image longevity. You whatever leverage you have, you use it, and it's for longevity. While everybody wants to be Tim Tebow, it's only one of him, right? It's only one of him. But I think the main thing about the reason why we are here is everything needs a voice, everything needs a platform, and everything needs somebody to push it. I think we can do all three because I love Gator fans, but I tell them, I say misinformation is not where you want to be. You want to be on the side of understanding what this is, why it is, and why it's important, because it's very important. And I'm just happy to be a part of it because I think the thing about what we're doing now is it's a group effort. Thank God for the Freddys of the world. Freddie, I couldn't do what you're doing, sir. I will be praying for you. Because that's a lot. That's a lot going on. But you have my full support, man. I think that what we can do as former players is utilize our collective voices to have one tone. Though you're not gonna get no craziness on this end, man. And to the Steve Harrises of the world, to the Lewis Murphys of the world, to the Brandon Spikes of the world. I think once we understand the importance of what we bring to the table, it's going to make what you do even better. And like I said, Florida Gator fans, man, I've stood in front of a bunch of them. I want to stand in front of more of them. I just look forward to telling them As my granddaddy would say, some of us, we on the right track, we just on the wrong train. We need to be on the same train, on the same track, head the same direction. I think this thing is going to continue to do a lot of great things.
Well said. And by the way, again, thanks to our sponsors. I mentioned a couple, Registrar Medical Research. They're one of them. They're providing this commercial-free hour so we can learn about Florida Victorious. Speaking of which, it's important to point out that you guys are dealing with a lot of charity groups. Florida Victorious involvement with people like 12 nonprofit organizations, Ronald McDonald House, Bread of the Mighty Food Bank, Habitat for Humanity, the YMCA, through, and etc. Many other things you're doing. You emphasize the charitable part of this, Freddie.
To me, that's the top of the mountain, and that's what makes me so proud about Florida Victorious. To see all these student athletes, you cannot underscore the positive impact of the nonprofit work they do. Seeing them all join to build a house for the Habitat for Humanity, going to the Ronald McDonald House, like you mentioned, buddy, and cooking breakfast and serving lunch to families that are going to the hospital, teaching and coaching kids at the YMCA. This happens every single week. Going to the Bread of the Mighty and bagging food for the needy and the folks that can't afford to buy food. This is what happens at Florida Victorious every single day. And to me, it's community service, giving back to the community you live in, is probably the most important aspect of any business. And you see that in every successful business. Every organization that succeeds does well in the community, and Florida Victorious is doing their part, and that's what they're utilizing the student athletes. Those are the things not many stories go out. There was a football player that bought his mom a home. That's a great story. And this is what Florida Victorious is helping the student athletes do. Yes, name, image, and likeness is the name of it, but Florida Victorious is here for the long haul. Florida Victorious is going to help the Florida Gators win, and we're doing things right every single day.
Yes, very well said. Looking for Loren Meadows. He's supposed to be joining us. He says he's here, but I don't see him, so we're waiting for him. Freddie, talk about Steve Spurrier. I think you have a unique perspective of him. How did you get into this with him? And, how did you convince him this restaurant idea would work? And you guys partnered up to a hugely successful operation.
That's the $1 million question, buddy. But I've always been an admirer of Coach Spurrier. I love his mentality. I love his coaching style. I love his abrasiveness. I love the fact that he says it the way it is. I believe in those things. I saw him win when I first came to Gainesville. I learned how he win. I use it as a tool for my business. Always differentiate or die. I practice the Sun Tzu philosophies as well in my businesses, and he's
Really?
very good at it. He's a legend, and I met Coach through my Domino's Pizza. I did pizzas for them, and that's where the relationship was born. Coach is a legend. He's one of very few people that hate to lose more than he likes to win. He's competitive, and this is how you have to think to succeed today. And he's won. I look at the results. 7 of our 9 SEC championships since 1932 were won by Steve Spurrier. He's the only person that in the College Hall of Fame inducted twice. He's the highest Gator drafted in the NFL draft. 1967, third pick. There's no Gator ever drafted higher than third.
Yeah.
Those are the things that make me kind of attracted me to Coach Spurrier, and I wanted to learn more from him. And when Coach called me about 5-6 years ago and says, "You remember that restaurant my daughter told me about? What do you think?" And we started doing the research, partnered together, found some investors, found the right location, and the next 3-4 years we're starting to build a legacy restaurant that was much needed for Gator Nation in Gainesville, Florida. And today that's one of the most successful restaurants in the South, one of the top highest rated celebrity restaurants in the country. And we're going to continue doing that because Coach Spurrier deserves that and Gator Nation deserves that.
So you fell for that one just like I did when he called me that day in Ocala and said, "Remember that book we were going to write all those years ago?" Yeah, let's do it. This is 25 years after the fact. Well, we did. That New York Times bestseller out of it. So he's quite.
And that book, That book is sold out, by the way. You can't find it
I
anywhere.
know. Do you sell all yours there?
We are almost sold out. Yes, it's
Because
one
I
of our
can't. I
top
don't have
sellers
any.
in the
I don't
restaurant.
have people ask me. I can't buy them. They're not for sale. I have like 5 left. My wife
Yeah,
was reading it now. She wants to. She's reading it. And she wants to know if I can get more copies. I said no, I can't. So,
as
so
I mean, as Buddy, you wrote the book, but let's be real. As Gator fans, Coach Spurrier is up there. He's at the top of the mountain. You know, and
yeah,
this is why people come to the restaurant every single day looking for Coach Spurrier.
yeah,
20 phone calls a day. Is Coach Spurrier
really.
coming in today? Is Coach Spurrier coming in today? Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what Steve Spurrier is to Gator Nation, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change. You look at the results and look at the scoreboard. It's there. It's there for Gator Nation to see that. This is why everybody adores him. Now, does he have some things that make people go crazy? Absolutely, but everyone does that. He did that to the competition. He did that to the semis, and that's who Steve Spurrier is. He is who he is, and you got to love for what he does for college sports and college football in general.
National treasure. And like I said earlier, to have Spurrier, and you've had a lot of great events there. I know you can't talk about some of the things that went on inside with the University of Florida, some recruits, etc. And it has become a huge arm. The University of Florida doesn't own it or have anything to say about it, but it has access to it. Freddie, talk about what you can talk about in terms of how Spurrier is playing a role as a partner to the Gators.
I mean, the restaurant filled in a gap when we did the original design, Buddy and Ben, was what should this restaurant be like? What design, what food, all that good stuff. And we took what the gap told us is missing. And Gainesville was missing an elevated restaurant with very good food, farm to table, that is large enough to host Gator fans on game days, on graduations, on functions, on recruiting dinners. Sometimes the football team buys out the entire restaurant to bring in the recruits and their families. We hosted the first year Coach of the Year award, the Freshman of the Year award. Uh, it's a museum. It's a hybrid, half museum, half restaurant, supported by good people and farm-to-table food. We seat 525, and we're full almost every night. And it's become a great story as well. And everything we saw in the strategic plan and the initial research has come to fruition. And as long as, like Coach reminds the staff all the time, if you just recruit good talent, you develop them, you get the most out of them, you make sure they're happy, your business, your team, your restaurant, your football team will succeed. And we're aiming high, and that's the philosophy we follow as well.
Well, I guess you said you use some of the Sun Tzu principles, so you guys are all locked up and linked up there. By the way, you get how many calls? How many calls do you say you get for Spurrier? 20 a day?
10 to 20 a
You
day.
don't get one for Ben or Buddy? Not one for Ben or Buddy ever? Come on, man. Huh? Hey, here's
it's kind of funny, but it's a true fact.
Yeah.
And folks just plan their destinations to the restaurant, upon when Coach Spurrier is going to be there. People want to take a picture or say hello, listen to him. And that, to me, who Steve Spurrier is today.
Yeah. There's a question about expansion. I know you guys have thought about maybe going elsewhere. I hope you don't, because if you do, it's harder to sustain. I'm selfish that way. But here, David Arnoff wants to know, will you open a Spurrier restaurant in Columbia?
There's a lot of demand for another Spurrier and more than one, and there's a lot of interested parties and investors. We're probably a year or two away from doing so. We still need to accomplish our plan. We just added takeout and delivery last week. We're still not complete. We're still remodeling the second floor and making it bigger and cooler. Once we complete our task, we will definitely look to expand. I know Columbia is one of the most demanded cities for a second location. People love Coach Spurrier up there, and why not? Down the road, I would say yes, but right now the answer is no.
I was in Columbia when he was coaching there while I was working on the book. I was with a couple of friends who lived there. They're friends of John Brantley. We went to dinner downtown, and we drove downtown Columbia, and I hadn't been there a few years. All these restaurants and stuff, and our guest turned and said, "You know who built this?" So I said, "Who?" He said, "Steve Spurrier built this. He made this happen." So the economic impact of what he's done in Colombia, not to mention Florida, is considerable. And we can thank Coach for building the stadium, building a team, winning a championship, and helping us bring better eating to our neighborhoods.
People don't realize, most Gator fans know that Steve Spurrier have the winningest record at the University of Florida. That what Gator fans don't remember or know is he also has the winningest record at the University of South Carolina. He's the only coach with two winningest records at two Power 5 schools, and that to me is an amazing stat along all the other ones we mentioned.
Ben, your final thoughts tonight as we wrap this commercial-free hour up, thanks to Velda Law, Restart Medical Research, and Titan MRI. Ben, your thoughts?
My thoughts are obviously we weren't that photo when Coach Napier first got to Florida and they did that photo, and you see how the staff was bigger than the team. They had more guys in polos than they had with jerseys on. I'm looking forward to being a part of this NIL side, and even with Coach Spurrier. You talk about those SEC championships, Freddy. I was blessed enough to be his last SEC championship was 2000. That was my freshman year. When I wrote my book, and no, it ain't on the level as the Buddy Martins. I sent Coach Spurrier my book. He sent me back a personal note, written. And mind you, I didn't play quarterback. I wasn't, Jaquez Green, Riedel Anthony, or Chris Doring, but it just says a lot about Coach Spurrier, because I think when you are as successful as he is, sometimes we forget he's a human being because he's so successful. Duke, Heisman, Florida, South Carolina. And the thing about Spurrier is, no matter what, every player that played under him, that's what you want to have. You want to have that type of impact. You don't got to have a restaurant. You don't got to have, but Coach Spurrier found a way to have a personal relationship with every player he coached. It's not the same with everybody. It's not the same. But I think that's what NIL could do. When people say, what could it do? Man, Ron Zip told me when I was at Florida, he said, Ben, if they only remember you for what you did as a player, you've wasted your time, man. It was your job to go out and show people who you are. If you were a fan that said, hey, man, I got to talk to Graham Mertz one time. Where? Man, I saw him out. And I said something to him. I think NIL could do that, because everybody ain't gonna play on Sundays or make it to the pros. But NIL could be the reason why someone says, "Man, I really got to know this young man, this young lady outside of the sport." Well, they're gonna root for him because of the colors they play. I get that part, but Anthony Richardson, I know he's a hell of a young man. Javon Dexter and these young ladies that are great ambassadors for the sport. I think that what NIL can end up doing is saying, hey, man, as my granddad would say, hey, man, come for the game, leave with a relationship. I came for the game. When I walked out, there he's standing right there. And I spoke to him, and it's yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And Mr. Two Bits, to me, is the greatest thing ever happened to Florida, because he said, just cheer him on, man. As much as we want to criticize, it ain't but so many of them. A lot of us just cheer them on. So I'm just looking forward to being a part of it, because, like I said, going to the University of Florida, being a Georgia boy, I never ever thought I would be doing what I'm doing now. So if I could, I'm just looking forward to lending my part, man, lend a hand, not an opinion, because, but like you said, Freddie, for those who be thinking, man, NIL, it's gonna kill college. No, it's not. It's gonna take us to another stratosphere. Ain't too many Spurriers out there. And we got him. I know South Carolina adopted him. He belongs to us. Gamecock Nation or whatever. He belongs to Gainesville. A little pop-up shop up there in Columbia. He belongs to us. We wrote his book. He made his wife there. Gainesville, he belongs to us. And so I'm just saying, Coach Spurrier, if you're listening, I know Freddie and y'all got something going. If they get a restaurant up there, hey, man, my son lives in Charlotte. I might have to pass through Columbia, and, I don't know what the menu going to be in Columbia. Can't be the same as it is in Gainesville. But Spurrier belongs to us. Like I say, Freddie.
A lot of chicken. Hey, listen, this is a good opportunity as we wrap up this commercial-free hour. Again, thanks to our sponsors for having this possible. To say, you know what, why not have a group of ambassadors, an ambassadors wing of former players who Ben Troupe could help lead. Freddie, you could get yourself 20 former players or 50 or 100 ambassadors who could be like big brothers to the players and maybe recruit some people to give money. I think that'd be a great idea, Freddie. And Ben would be a great one to get involved.
I agree 100%. Anything that can help us win and help the Florida Victorious is a win for me. But I want to go back to something that Ben mentioned about NIL and kind of people understanding what it is and accepting what NIL is. And I want to compare it to back in the day when the NFL rolled out free agency. It took 3 years for people to embrace free agency. People hated free agency. You talk to all those old timers, they did not want free agency. And now it's a normal business. Everybody accepts it, and it's the law of the land. And I say the same thing will happen to NIL. 2 years from now, it will be embraced. NIL will be a little bit different, but it will be embraced. And speaking of former athletes, they have to embrace it, all of them, because if we all loyal to the Gator brand, we have to support and embrace NIL. It is the new law of the land. And once that happens, good things will happen. I personally, I'm very bullish of the future of the Florida Gators. I'm very bullish with the Florida Victorious. And I appreciate the opportunity today to speak about this spring game. Let's come on down to Gainesville, drive up, drive down, visit the Orange and Blue game. Tickets are free. Have good fun, visit tailgate, go to the field, meet the players, take pictures, bring your footballs, have them autographed, and let's make it a good day, and let's have high attendance. I was here for the 60,000 at the Spurrier spring games. I was here for the 60 and 70,000 people at the Urban Meyer spring games. Let's fill up the swamp, and let's have fun on Saturday.
Sounds good to me. It sounds like we got something going here. Congratulations, and on behalf of Gator fans, Freddie, Ben and I thank you for taking on this responsibility and doing it right, and I know you will do it right. I wish you the very best. Ben and I stand here to help any way we can, and thank you for being on the program. Very enlightening.
Thank you. And Ben, we need to get you to Spurrier soon. Let me know when, and we'll make it happen.
Hey, listen, I'm looking forward to it, but I like something you said, Freddie. You said I'm bullish when it comes to Florida Victorious and it comes to the University of Florida. I like that because that's what I'm used to. Spurrier is a very, 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 very confident man. Yes, that's based on what he does, but he knows what Florida is a global brand. So when people say, "Hey, Ben, I'm from the state of Georgia, out here with all these bulldogs, all these barking people," they always ask me, why are you so confident when it comes to Florida? I'm like, why not? Are you serious? We're not a fly-by-night Johnny-come-lately. We've been here a long time, and we're going to be here even longer. So, hey, I'm just looking forward to being a part of it only because, like I said, the greatest thing a former player can do for a current player is let them know, hey, man, I got you. I got you. I'm that way. And listen, people say, do I got a play in me left, Freddie and Buddy? The answer is no. I don't want to go out there anymore. Do I want to go out there on Saturday? Absolutely not. My days are over with, and I'm happy they're over with.
You've done a job. Hey, by the way, I have a personal request from Freddie. If you could help me with this, if I could bring my wife to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill the next couple of weeks, could she meet Freddie Wehbe?
Buddy, you come along with your wife, and we'll make sure you have a great meal, great desserts, a good drink, and a good time. Come on down.
Believe it or not,
and I will make sure to be there. I'll be your server. I will personally cook the food.
And I'll join in Florida Victorious. And by the way, her other goal is after meeting you, she's always said, "Can we meet Steve Spurrier someday?" I said, "Probably. We can probably work that out, right?"
We will make that happen.
All right. Freddie, thank you so much for everything. Ben, great job as usual. This guy, Ben, gets me fired up every time he's on the show. We call him Pastor Ben because he likes to preach, and he preaches a good sermon. So, well done tonight, guys. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you all.
All right, guys. Thanks
so
much. Go Gators. Thank you. All right, folks, you heard it all right there from the man, Freddie Wehbe. He's the guy who's bringing the rain and doing his job. I want to thank again our sponsors tonight for making this commercial-free hour possible. Of course, you all know TitanMRI.com, who's been our sponsor for about a year or more. These people make our world easier and keep us on the air. Certainly, Renstar Medical Research, longtime friends, longtime sponsors of our program here, the Arkansas area. And, of course, our good friends, Jeffrey Meldo of Meldo Law, they won't back down. On behalf of them, on behalf of my guests tonight, Freddie Wehbe, and, of course, our partners on the program, I'm going to the Orange and Blue game on Monday. I'll be back to talk to you going to the Orange and Blue game on Saturday, and back to talk to you about it on Monday. Have a good night, folks. Have a great weekend.